and how better can leaders and adults actually start conversations with youth?
Absolutely. I think that there is a lot of saturation in the media and the education system in homes about vaping and the dangers of vaping, not only on your mental health but your physical health. Something that I really wanted to stress is that the accessibility of vaping, I think exactly as it was illustrated, Uber vapes, like how crazy is that it's included in the fare, that someone will just drop it to a convenient location, not to mention the safety risks with that, but just it eliminates the stress work for young people to access vapes. But something that I also really tried to stress was that I didn't feel there were enough resources for the aftermath. So when you've made that decision to quit, how difficult that can be, and the physical effects on your body, your mental health, and your overall being. And I didn't feel as though there were resources available, because it's very different to quitting smoking. And so how could departments be better gearing resources toward young people so that we can ensure that they're doing so safely when they've made a decision like that?
So in your experience, not just with the film Grape and the message about vaping, but just more generically, how powerful is it for young people to have that voice and to be heard? And do you actually think they are being heard? I mean, you speak so eloquently, you have so much power in you when you stand up before Parliament. Are you confident you're being heard, or does that need to shift more as well with more advocacy like you're doing with QFCC?
I think speaking as somebody that works at QFC, I'm very privileged that I have incredible mentors and individuals in power within my organisation that are very happy to listen to young people. They enjoy it, they're genuinely passionate about it. I cannot speak for all those in power, because I think obviously as QFCC is doing, we are creating opportunities for young voices to be heard. But I think there really is power in it. Young people speaking to young people, going, I've walked this walk, I've done this, and now I'm on the other side. I think there's something very powerful in that, because, you know, it's just like listening to your mum and dad. It's fantastic. They have, you know, the experience of their life, but it's not going to be the same as you. But sitting next to somebody and going, hey, actually, this is how I felt, or this was my experience, and going, yeah, actually, I can totally relate to that. I think you reach people on a different level. And that's my favourite part about my job, and speaking to young people about young people and youth issues.
You can tell how much she loves the job, can't you? It's amazing, it's infectious. Okay, handing over to Luke, because we haven't actually heard, this is one of my favourite parts of this journey with Aurora. And if you don't go into filmmaking, I'm going to hook you up as a journalist for Channel 7, because you are dogged, and you need to be dogged as a journalist. Mr. Christopher, you know that, don't you? We're still talking, aren't we? Yes. Okay, Luke, tell us, how did this all come about?
Well, from my perspective, I attended the Channel 7, give them a plug, Community Service Awards here in Brisbane, and many adults got up on stage and won awards, and then this tiny 12-year-old got up and won an award for making a film about road safety. And I thought, well, I'm the Children's Commissioner and I have to wrap up at the end. I might go win some of these award winners. And instead of talking about the film she had made, Aurora immediately pitched to me her new ideas. And it just happened to be...
Smart girl.
just happened to be the week before Tyla and I appeared in Parliament on vaping, so I was explaining what is a Children's Commissioner and what we're doing, and here's one of the issues we're currently working on, and Aurora just said, oh, I'm making a film about that. I said, oh, that's great. And that was it. And I went back to my table and kept schmoozing. And then Aurora and her mum, Kat, who's a very fierce advocate for her and the issues as well, came up to me and gave me a post-it note with a secret link to watch Melonhead, which is a lockdown film. We couldn't access it, and wrote a little note about how they'd love to partner with me. And I said, thank you. And then the next day I got an email from them saying, hey, just following up, you got a chance. But part of my story, Kim, is I am literally legislated to amplify the views of Queensland young people. It is the power that government has given to me in my job, and they give me budget to do it. And it was still scary and risky for me to give a 12-year-old money to make a film from her perspective. And once we got over, and my management team's here, but once we got over that risk of should we, fund this? Should we put taxpayer money into this or not? Or what are the risks to me? What's the risk to the QFCC? What if the film's really bad? Once we got over all that and we said, yeah, we should do it. This is absolutely our role. We should absolutely do this. We still had roadblocks. You can't create an employment contract for a 12-year-old for very good reasons. And so we had to create a contract with Matt, the production company, and our commercial dealings were with him, and we negotiated the contract with Aurora, and we said it had to be anti-vaping, it had to be produced in a way that would connect to teenagers, but that we didn't want to approve the script. I certainly didn't want to have my fingerprints over the messages, because this is a youth-led project. And then you snowball the risks and go, well, it's a movie about vaping. Have I just paid young Queenslanders to vape on film? And so you go through all these different risks, and right through it all, Aurora would meet with us and randomly contact us and just, here's a risk assessment. So it's a very different approach that she took, where it was not just, please can I have some money to make a film. It was a commercial endeavour for her, a passion project for her. She ran a business that identified all the risks that would worry me. She chased me up, she followed us up, she hassled Kirstine and Erin, and so she was dogged and persistent because she believed that this was a project that would have value. And then we saw it and we got freaked out by the last part of the story, because we were paying for an anti-vaping film, not where that last scene alludes to, and then we knew from other young people that no, that does happen. And then we worried, well, Department of Education want to show it given how it ends, and so some of our staff started showing it to their kids as a tester of, well, do we still back this? And that's where I got to tell Aurora that one of the first people that watched it led to a confession from a teenager that they had vaped, and the mum, who's my employee, was then able to have a kitchen table conversation with her own child about vaping because they'd seen this film. And so that was just a proud moment for me, a proud moment for Aurora to go actually all in. Let's make this as big as we can.
Absolutely. I'll pass to Aurora. Aurora, it's interesting looking through the lens as a mum and as a police. I'm used to being around this sort of content firsthand, first on the scene, whether it's a rape or whether it's a murder or whatnot. I thought the film was ending with you lying on the bed in silence and that huge issue hanging over there. And then we went to the back shot of, your beautiful little sister and that really poignant, gut-wrenching shot there. Was that always in mind, or had you thought about finishing on the bed as that being that overarching? Because that in itself had such a powerful message, which I think had us all going, oh my gosh. And then you went to that next level of almost, and I'm going to ask you, my interpretation was that we're implying this could get into the hands of innocents. This is the next generation. We have to protect them. I'm really curious your creativity there. What were you tossing up those last couple of scenes? Because they really kicked you in the guts.
Yeah, I think when you're writing film, you think of every possible outcome and every possible ending. And I went through a lot of different ones, but I found that one, especially for teenagers, you might think, well, yeah, similar things have happened to me, but I think having young siblings or cousins or young people in general, like little kindergartners, you think, oh wow, this really does not only affect me, but it affects others. And I think that was a really big thing for me. And I wanted to show that not only that it affected my character, but it also affected young people and the next generation. And I think that's what I was really trying to display and show, but I went through a lot of different endings in my mind.
So I'll pass to Tyla. Tyla, how do you feel about the ending? Now as someone who is an educator, who connects with young people, has those difficult conversations. I know it's difficult because the writer is here, but I ask you respectfully, do you feel it hit the mark? Did you feel like you could go out now and go, yes, that is spot on?
Absolutely. I think it was very thought-provoking, and I think I'm in no way an older person, but I think as an older young person, it was really hard because I think I've got a younger sister at home, and she's 16, and to think that something that I did when I was her age, for her to engage in, I couldn't even imagine. Like, I would do absolutely anything to stop that from happening. And I think that really illustrated that to me, and just the genuine severity. Like when your brother is portrayed and he's cut from the sport team, I think that really resonated with me, because I was like, I played netball throughout high school. My lungs definitely took a heat. Running a netball court becomes really, really difficult if you are inhaling toxic substances. And then your younger sister panning to your younger sister after such an experience, like in the car, and you're like, wow, that's not so far removed from reality. And obviously you said at the start, like, this has been informed by conversations that you've had with people and with other young people and people that do vape and are anti-vape. So it's like, wow, someone else has had that experience, how awful, how gut-wrenching that is. No, do you want to say anything to that?
Oh, sorry. Okay.
We don't want to get. Is this the new Tiffany bracelet you got in LA?
No, this isn't the Tiffany.
No, I'm more just like that's right.
But I was talking about the ending. I was thinking about a lot of different endings, and then I actually saw on the news that happening, and it was actually given to a younger sibling, not a younger sibling found it. It was given as like, oh, that's funny,
It's a joke.
and I think that was a really big thing. And I was like, wow, if you, as you said, you'll stop anything from happening to your younger sister, and if you'll stop anything, then I think you should stop vaping. And I think that's what I was really trying to display in the making of this.
No, absolutely. I'll pass to Luke. Luke, we mentioned prior to the film beginning about where this film will go. From here, what's QFCC's role with getting this out to a broader audience, and who is that audience and how are you going to do it?
Yeah, thank you. Both Kat and I have individually lobbied Minister Grace, the Minister for Education, and there's a senior representative of the department here. There are conversations around how this could be used in Queensland curriculum going forward. My personal view, and I have put it forward, is you need to have a conversation after this film shows, and that has to lead to reflection within the classroom, and so that it's not about just making this film available on YouTube and letting everyone watch it, because I think there's some deep messages that need discussion. And so that's an ongoing conversation. There's also staff here from the Mental Health Commission and the Health Department. We've shared the video with those departments and their ministers. It's certainly available. Aurora and I share the licence as part of our contract deal, so she's able to use it as part of her ongoing career, and I'm able to use it within government to make it available, be it within schools or elsewhere. So we're certainly keen that it does get shared widely, it does get viewed, but that it also includes a mature conversation after its screening, given the entire intent of this was to influence positive change.
You must feel very proud.
It's shocking. Shock. It's absolute shock. I thought I was helping someone make a home video. No, honestly, when you have someone come up
That
and
could
go,
go on your resume.
that it's just so profoundly powerful. And actually, I had a number of my staff watch it first, and I didn't want to watch it too quickly because I wanted to see how they react before I brought my own opinion. And no one would say it was great, and no one would say it was bad. They sort of went, "Oh, you really need to see it." And I think, well, what better recommendation than that? You put that on your poster. You really need to see this. And so, yeah, I'm just immensely delighted to have been a small contributor to how this movie got made. And I do want to thank the family and the actors and the friends in the room for everyone involved, because I hope Aurora doesn't mind this, but she's got a significant amount of attention from this, but there's some incredible acting and some incredible adults that supported this whole movie, and so I'll shout out to all of you as well.
Yeah, that's Tyla, I'd like to leave you if you'd like to share just one final word before I pass the final word to our star here. What would you like to share from your experience, or something that you feel will help everybody maybe start a conversation or even share something out of what we've learned from Grape this evening?
I would like to say thank you again for being brave enough High school is a scary place. Teenagers are harsh, and I think taking a stand on something that is a very personal and complex matter, whilst still in high school and going to school with some of the people you acted with who may not share the same views as you, is incredible, so thank you. But also that these conversations are tough for parents, caregivers, individuals that work with young people in the room. I don't think shying away from them. As much as they're tough and I don't have all the answers, I think they're a worthwhile conversation, because if I could go back and speak to 15-year-old me, boy would I have some words for her. But anyway, so I think that it is very worthy to start the conversation, and to be okay with just not sitting there non-judgmentally, because as human beings, of course, we're going to have instinct and reactions, but really just going, okay, if you've confided in me, what are we going to do from here? Where do you see this going? How can I implore you to make educated decisions over your body, but really stress that this is not good for so many reasons. It's really not good. And so that's what I would say to everyone here, and to thank you all for being here and supporting this incredible Queenslander.
And Aurora, to you, yes, I think that's definitely. And finally, sharing with our audience, many of whom just have seen this film for the first time today, as we go out now and talk about Aurora, Iler, your wonderful co-stars and the crew behind the scenes, if we could share anything about Grape, what would you love us to share?
I'd love everyone to share it, not only like in your brain, constantly thinking about it, but to share it to youth and to share it to more youth. If you are like a young person like me, or you, like to share it to
Not me, yeah. Sorry.
To share it to as many people as possible, because that is why we made the film. And I think one thing to take away from Grape is that it's not okay, and it's not okay behaviour. And if you have done it before, instead of being like, oh, well, I'll stop tomorrow, I think it's really a really important conversation to stop now. And I think that, as you said, it is a difficult subject to bring up. And I think watching the film and then having a discussion about it, you can't just like stop talking about it. It is a thought-provoking movie, and I think that's very important to talk about it, and to talk about the whole situation of vaping. And if you have vaped, that's okay, because you can't change your past actions, but to stop vaping, because it's really not good for you.
Well, I'm sure I speak on behalf of everybody here to Aurora, Tyla and Commissioner Luke Twyford. Thank you so much for sharing your heart, your passions, your insights, your dreams and your dogged determination for getting messages across. All three of you have helped to produce this incredible experience this evening. And to all the cast here, seriously, and to crew behind, as Luke said, there are many shining lights in this audience who are on screen today, and I've got a feeling that, we're going to see you walking the red carpet, and we're going to be able to say one day, do you remember we were in the Elizabeth Theatre and we saw them up on screen? So certainly we're going to watch this space. I'd like to wish all of you all the best, happiness, safe trips home, and fabulous next chapters of your own stories. And thank again our wonderful hearts for sharing so openly this evening. Thank you, everyone. We're going to have some refreshments. So thank you so much.
Are you okay? Yeah, that's always going to happen.